Let's do this in 3, 2, 1. We're back, baby. Welcome to the TCN Podcast, the part 2 or episode 2 of the long-gated series. Already better than 2 years ago. Speaking about 2 years ago, actually, for today's guest, a long-time legend, a returnee of the only other episodes I ever done, Denzel Camacho. Welcome aboard.
Hello there. Thank you for having me.
So how you been, man?
I've been good. It's been a while. Glad to be back. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, right. 2 years. Think about that. That was a long time.
Yeah. I understand we're gonna be going over specific topics today, but had it been just a free flow of video game conversation, it would have been a repeat of last time because, like last time, all I did was talk about Monster Hunter. And right now, all I'm thinking about is the new Monster Hunter.
Yeah, coming out really early next year, too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. But that's not why I brought you here. You see, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I bring Denzel is same reason I brought him last time. It's probably my most educated and well-versed friend in the anime and manga sphere.
I've successfully tricked him.
No. He out of all like the guys and persons that people I know who like know or like watch anime, he's probably like the guy who knows the most about like studios, about like the individual anime creators. He's like a really educated guy and also a graduate student coming up soon this semester, right?
Yeah, that is true. I'll be graduating from the University of Guam with a major in psychology.
Dude, that's swell, man. So anyways, let's talk about some anime.
All right,
you ready for
go
this?
ahead and do that.
See, there's an interesting topic I want to bring up on, which is there's been a discussion in a lot of anime forums about the lack of really strong or good MCs in anime and mangas these days. What's your thoughts about that first? Let's start with, how do you define a very good MC?
Okay, so the topic of a very good protagonist to anime is that's an interesting one for me because I don't necessarily think there's obviously the one formula for a good main character, and we also have to take into consideration the personal preferences of the audience. But I think a lot of times a good main character is when it's not just a self-insert power fantasy. Okay, so I'm not going to name any particular animes. I don't want to pick any fights. So when you watch an anime and it's geared all towards this main character, they have plot armor protecting them throughout the whole thing, and it's just them triumphing through everything. A lot of times it's just like, okay, this is just the author, self-inserting themselves. This is their power fantasy. And I think that's very, that pulls away from the narrative. So I think a good main character is often one that's relatable, per se, not exactly, but the good main character is one where we can view them with a good, respectable suspension of disbelief and still be like, all right, here they are in a fictitious setting, but there's still this human element to them. So
yeah, because it's very interesting because I was watching some animes from last season, like out of my own character, but then there's this one anime in particular that kind of caught my interest, which is Isekai Cell Phone, which is like it's pretty much like the writing that Isekai hype of like trying to make that new dimension, new world anime hype, and then the main character he's like, oh, if I could bring it's same as the what's that other anime called? It's gonna kill me because I can't remember the name of the anime. It's really popular. It's with the character Aqua and then the chick that says.
You're thinking of Konosuba.
There you go, Konosuba. It follows like a very Konosuba-esque
yeah.
style, which is like, oh, guys dies early. God's like, you can bring one thing with you, and then instead of like, so in Konosuba he chooses the god, but in Isekai Cell Phone he chooses to bring his own cell phone. That's all he asks. But then I think like the reason why Konosuba was so great. And I enjoyed Konosuba because it was very comedic how he was an absolute, like, kind of like a shitter in a sense, right? Like, he didn't have too much bonus feats and everything. But in Isekai Cell Phone, he's unreasonably godlike for no reason whatsoever. Like, God is just like, hey, oh yeah, you want your cell phone? Here you go. Oh, and by the way, I gave you affinity to all magic. Oh, and also not only that, you're the only one in the universe that can use every spell pull magic, even that doesn't exist anymore. And I give you like pretty much Matrix level reflexes. And then usually we dealt with overpowered characters before. One very famous one is One Punch Man. But I just feel like it's so disconnecting with like, because One Punch Man, Saitama was very comedic, right?
Yeah, I'd say he's very comedic, but I think the strength of One Punch Man, because Saitama I consider a good protagonist. The strength of One Punch Man is that the story isn't necessarily singularly about Saitama.
Yeah, like he's already implied as the main character, but it's not so heavily focused on him too.
Yeah, your story comes from the supporting cast.
Mm-hmm.
Growth is shown through them. You know, we have a lot of great supporting characters inside One Punch Man, all of them with great levels of depth. And Saitama, you know, unlike most anime, he's the protagonist that's at the apex of his character growth. There's no true growth behind him, and we see all of that just through the supporting cast and the little subplots that go on throughout it.
Yeah, and also another thing, like I really, when I did a deep analysis, like especially with One's works, right? So we're talking about Mob Psycho and One Punch Man, is that although these characters like Mob and Saitama, they're so strong, but they have a flaw, and it's a very personal flaw too. Like Saitama's flaw is that he can never find the strongest enemy, or no one ever recognizes him. And Mob is just trying to be like a normal, sociable boy.
Yeah. And I mean, this goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's this relatable human element to them. So Saitama, although regardless of how strong he may be or ridiculous he may be, a lot of the relatability of it is we look at the superhero, action genre, how it's just filled with all these amazing, huge fights. And then we look at One Punch Man, and very much, relatably so, Saitama's very much a regular person given, ridiculous power. And the relatability comes through, like, if I were in this situation, I would think it'd be really ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, so a lot of Saitama's actions, his reasoning, that's where the relatability comes through. Like, if I was suddenly given superpowers, I'd probably go about my regular day life too and, worry about sales at the supermarket. And then when the hero comes along, or the villain comes along, and they'd start monologuing, I'd be like, why are you talking weird? I'm okay. And, punch him in the face.
It's like, yeah, I'm just trying to buy some eggs. I don't got time for your dialogue.
Yeah, because that's really it. In a lot of anime, it has very anime writing. I don't know if that's something
yeah,
bad
there's
about
that
anime industry.
I think that's like a lot of like fantasy and fictional writing too. Like you can even see in movies where you have that traditional bad guy who just has the long narrative dialogue.
Yeah, it's just very stereotyped, and it's, in all honesty, like if you were to hear someone talk like that in real life, it's just like, what's wrong with this person? That's a weirdo.
Yeah, just imagine like someone just come up to you and say, Denzel Camacho, my arch nemesis, I come here to destroy you because you have fucked over my life.
I'd be like, get away from me. I'm calling the cops.
Yeah, like realistically, we don't expect that, but it's becoming trope, right? And I think that's another strength of like One Punch Man, and it's really putting out tropes. But when an anime really goes hard on troping, do you feel like that's a issue we have right now?
I don't particularly think it's an issue. So if we're talking about just writers in general, for using writing mechanics, tropes are around for a reason. They're a very good way to look at trends and I guess character models in writing. But in the industry itself, we have to remember that the anime industry is very much geared towards the sales of merchandise, physical goods, and things like that. So obviously there are people out there that aren't behind the actual creative crew, that are more a part of just like the merchandising crew. So obviously anime that capitalize on tropes that are popularized, those are the ones that are going to be pushed in our face, because in the end, anime is not really about making an audience happy. Anime is about selling merchandise.
And I like to stay on that topic too, because it's going to transition well with my next topic, because I really feel like anime has very big trends, like in terms of like genre. Like we had a huge moe genre, and then we had a very huge adventure genre. Now we're going to I would like to say the isekai fantasy, like this new phase of isekai and fantasy worlds, where every like anime is like playing with this idea that, oh, new world, or oh, this bizarro fantasy world. So
Yeah. I for one think it's a waking nightmare. But, there's good out of that though. Obviously, we can't say Sword Art Online was like the first to bring that about.
Yeah.
But it definitely popularized it. And one thing I think is good about that is at this point, Sword Art Online isn't being looked as the one that did it well or anything like that. But now it's kind of a jumping off point where we've had many good animes that take the same mechanic as like Sword Art Online, but they improve on where Sword Art Online failed. So, for example, we brought up Konosuba earlier.
Yeah.
Konosuba essentially just takes a similar premise to Sword Art Online, but they go a more extremified comedic route, and they can show how ridiculous the actual setup of that whole, the whole isekai setting is. And really, I just want to say this, but personally, when I watch Konosuba, huge fan of the series, but I always look at Konosuba as just It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
It's just a comedy relief in a sense.
Awful people having awful things done to them. That's all.
That's all it really is. I think that's the appeal of it too. It's very simple. It's very comedic, right? It's not like this grand storyline that you need to follow.
And then we have other isekai settings that again do this, but they take one of the concepts from that whole thing and then they improve on it. They go in depth. Like we have Re:Zero that takes the whole, I guess the
darker side of it,
the grim dark side of it, and they try to push how far dark the actual setting can be. And then we get what's another one that used the isekai setting? Log Horizon.
Yeah.
Where they go a more technical route of like the whole video game.
Yeah, like using video game terminologies and knowledge.
Yeah. Actually, right now in the current anime season, I'm very behind on my anime at the moment, but the only one I'm actually keeping up with, I believe its Japanese title is Netoju no Susume, which in English should be Recovery of an MMO Junkie.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'm in love with that anime at the moment, and that uses the whole isekai setting also. Are you familiar with it?
Oh, no, not yet. I actually, the only anime I've been watching this season is really Black Clover.
Ooh, Black Clover.
Yeah.
That's one that I only got around to like just I think first episode, but I'm really hoping that one goes somewhere.
Yeah, no, it has a kind of a slow starting like after like watching because I read the manga first, right? I don't know why. Like it's the guy who creates Black Clover, Seven Deadly Sins, and Fairy Tail. They always have a similar style. Like you can just tell by the art style and the narrative direction. Yeah. And I think the really funny too is like my friend, he doesn't like Seven Deadly Sins, but he really likes Naruto, right? And then Black Clover is like a combination of you have like similar characters of Seven Deadly Sins, but the character personality, the persona is very Naruto-esque. I shit you not. The main character is like pseudo Naruto. It's so bad. Like the comparison is on point.
So the main character is a lot like Boruto's dad.
Yeah, it's essentially it's so bad because you have, and then even because the whole general premise, right? Is like there's two kids out of the slums. One guy's a superstar, quiet dude, not Sasuke at all, and then another kid's the Lincoln that no one thinks is gonna do well, but he just main character logic is the way to fucking victory. Yeah, but it's so far getting there. I just watched last episode. Or episode 4 early this weekend. It's actually pretty enjoyable. I think you should give it a try. Maybe like once it gets more episodes in.
Yeah, I don't know too much about its actual narrative or anything like that. I do know just from looking at it, its key visuals, just as far as aesthetically.
Yeah, it's very interesting the way they do the magic portrayal there.
Yeah, like in a opposite sense actually. For the anime I was watching, Netoju no Susume, I actually didn't like the way it looked, but I ended up watching it just because it was heavily involved with like MMOs and stuff like that.
Yeah, so it's the story that drives you in.
It was just that it was like literal MMOs. This one is an essentially isekai setting.
Mm-hmm.
The main character is literally playing an MMO.
Oh, okay.
She's like in her 30s. The main character is female. That's already an interesting point for me. She's in her 30s. She basically left the corporate world of her own volition and she's become a neat shut-in, and she's just like, all right, I'm just gonna play MMOs for the rest of my life and never leave my apartment. But one thing I do have to say, being a gamer myself, is that besides the other MMO, I guess, setting anime, is that this anime really captures like the feel of what it's like to play an MMO. Although it's more in the rom-com setting, it's very relatable to a gamer like me.
Oh yeah, I think I'll give that a shot. I'm too addicted to MMOs right now too.
Yeah, like just references that they make to just like gaming culture in general. Like I think in the most recent episode that probably just aired like the day before, they brought up like how a piece of loot wasn't dropping that they really wanted, and someone's like, "Oh yeah, that's the need radar. That's RNG. Like the second you want it, the RNG radar picks up on you. It's like, it's never gonna drop me."
Oh, shit.
I'm like, "Oh, I know what that feels like."
Yeah.
But as far as like character writing goes and just the narrative of the story, then like I really enjoy it. So that's currently the only anime I'm keeping up with.
Interesting. So, very last question, or there's actually two more, but a really big topic I want to hit on, right?
All right,
So, thoughts about the state of live action animes?
Okay. My thoughts on that is that I'm heartbroken. I'm sad.
Have you watched the new Death Note live action?
I tried to. I couldn't stomach it. I didn't complete it. I'll be honest with you. I was actually one of the people that was like advocating for it when it was announced. It's like, Netflix original series.
Oh man, no. See, I was like, fuck, Netflix, maybe. And then I saw the trailer. I'm like, no.
Okay, see, that's the thing. I didn't want to be judgmental. I want to be like, it can be good, and it really can be good. I know a lot of people were hitting it with like why is everyone American? What's going on?
Oh yeah, the stereotypical like whitewashing everything.
Yeah, but I didn't really see that as a particular issue because looking at Death Note, nothing of its story was inherently Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, you could still take that, and just as long as it's put in a modern setting, it can still work. But did not.
No. I went to like 3 episodes in, and I'm just like, no. I know where this is gonna take me. I don't want to feel like I want to hate myself even longer. And actually, the reason why I brought this up is because J.J. Abrams is confirmed to do the live action of Your Name. Very popular Japanese movie that came out 2016. Have you watched it? I'm pretty sure you have.
I will be one to ashamedly admit I have not watched it.
Oh.
So, and I'm going to defend myself here.
Okay.
One of the reasons I didn't watch it is around this time when Your Name was coming out. I am a huge advocate for officially supporting anime studios.
Oh, okay.
And at the time, I had no way to officially watch it. At the moment, I'm planning on buying the Blu-ray just so I can get a chance to watch it.
But hey, dude, you should. It's really it's one of those fucking heart pullers, man.
I don't doubt it. I've heard and seen enough of it to know, even without watching it, I'm pretty sure it's a good experience. But I just haven't had any official ways of watching it. I know this was around the same time that A Silent Voice hit theaters.
Yeah.
I chose to watch that one instead because I actually had an opportunity. I was traveling at the time. I was in the Philippines, and in one of my nearby theaters, they were actually showing it. So I was like, all right, I can watch it. And
damn, why don't they have these on Guam, man?
Yeah,
we need more of these. We need more of our weeb community to like start petitioning to movie theaters. Give us these Japanese movies.
Yeah,
God damn it.
We can actually do that. There's a lot of anime studios out there that allow us to do things like that in international setting.
Mm-hmm.
One of the current ongoing animes, I don't remember its Japanese name, something like Maho no Sakai, but Ancient Magus Bride.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Anime Expo earlier this year at the Magus Bride panel talking to the director, and he was actually talking about how he intended to have the first 3 episodes shown in theaters like across the states, across the country.
Oh.
It's just that people would actually have to go on their website
and then like apply for it.
Yeah, apply for it, and then they would have to then I guess reach out to their local theaters and tell them like, hey, we want this to actually be shown here and stuff like that. So the studios were actually making.
Yeah,
an
ladies
effort
and
to do
gentlemen,
things
if you're an anime fan, weeb fan, manga fan, let's get this done, man. I don't want no My Little Ponies in the movies. I want some anime movies.
Hey man, I think the My Little Pony anime movie looks interesting. I haven't watched it yet. I'm planning on watching it. I have a younger nephew and younger niece. I'm gonna take them to it. Really, I'm taking myself to it. But getting off topic though.
Yeah.
If you're interested, you should actually look into actually reaching out to anime studios and directors, authors, anything like that. They're often very reachable on Twitter, and who knows, maybe there might be something available in your area for a service to be able to watch locally.
Mm-hmm. And then kind of going off topic a bit because fuck it.
Oh yeah, J.J. Abrams. What's up
Yeah,
there?
dude. J.J. Abrams though, trying to do a drama.
That's right. You were saying he is going to be directing Your Name?
Yes.
So I haven't watched Your Name. I do have an inkling of what it's about, the setting, and just the overall tone of the film.
Yeah.
But J.J. Abrams.
Okay, let's just take a little quick pause. Let's think of a single drama that J.J. Abrams made.
Lens flares are a little dramatic.
Yes, and walking away from explosions is real tear jerking.
Ooh, really dramatic. I mean, I'm not very familiar with a lot of J.J. Abrams' work. I will say I really like the newer Star Trek films. I much prefer the older ones, but they're not bad.
They're okay.
Enjoyable. But I don't see him being a good director for a live action adaptation of Your Name. Did they have a live action adaptation of that in Japan, or was it only animated?
No, it's just anime.
Just animated.
Yeah, it's due to the popularity of it, the Hollywood execs dude, we need to jump on this weeb wagon. Need to make this live action. See, actually, just spare this moment with me, because I sometimes whenever I tell this to people, they think I'm fucking crazy. Because I feel like there's a conspiracy in Hollywood, right? Whenever an anime goes big or something gets popular worldwide, there's an agenda in Hollywood that they want to make a live action version of that film and make it shit, so that Western people will think anime is just shit.
Maybe that's a good thing. It's right now Trump is in office and he's talking to the people behind Hollywood, and he's like, we gotta stop our people from becoming weeaboos. We gotta destroy it from the inside out. We gotta make a live action adaptation. People will watch this and they'll be like, anime, not for me. You know what? Not gonna do it. I was thinking about watching my first anime, but I just watched this. I just watched Death Note on Netflix. I'm like, I'm not gonna do it anymore.
Or watching Avatar: The Last Airbender on the movies.
Okay, see that one's a masterpiece. Okay.
And you're gonna tell me Dragon Ball Evolution is the greatest movie of all time.
I will defend Avatar: The Last Airbender's live action till the day I die. Everything about it sucked. Everything about it was awful. But I will say, and people tell me I'm crazy, but I can never find the scene on YouTube, and I refuse to actually put an effort into finding it. But someone can verify this for me. But during the scene where they're all gathering on the wall at the whatever south or north pole they're at, and the Water Tribe members are gathering on the wall, getting ready for the attack from the Fire Nation. There's this one shot where the camera's panning over the line and it's showing everyone. And as you get towards the end of the line, the last person in the line, in the foreground of the camera, just looks really out of place because he's kind of like this chubby, happy
dude. He's just like, what the fuck am I doing here?
He looks different from everyone, like ethnicity wise, and he's just happy. He's smiling. He's oddly smiling. And he's a bit on the chunkier side. So he just looks like a fan who won a contest to be like, hey, appear in one scene for Avatar. And he's like, oh, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be in a scene. I'm happy. And I guess that was the scene. And I saw it. And I'm like, oh, this is beautiful. No, I love this.
That's terrible.
I love the movie just for that one scene. I was hoping there would be during all the conflict and the battling, when the Fire Nation hit, we'd see one combat scene with him and him doing flips. Oh, it would have been awesome. He would have been smiling the whole time, killing firebenders.
Totally out of character, just be like, yeah. So I got my village is being invaded, but fuck it.
I'm telling you. Rewatch it just for that scene.
Maybe, maybe when I feel like I really don't like my life anymore and I just need to like hate myself even more, I'll rewatch that movie. God bless M. Night Shyamalan. Made from like making really good movies to questionable ones.
At that point, it's he's just become his own trend.
He's his own meme.
Yeah, pretty much.
But apparently Split was a good movie, but hopefully maybe just less of these live action movies, and maybe we should have like full cinematic movies instead. How does that sound?
I think we should just stop doing adaptations of other
Anything?
media.
Yeah, fuck it, right?
It's okay. We don't need to have a movie and then make a game of it, because that's always gonna suck. We don't have to have an anime and then make a live action adaptation of it. We can just leave it as its source. Maybe if there's a book of it, we can make a film of it. Or if there's a manga, then we can make an anime of it. But we should stop trying to bridge like the actual visual medias, you know?
I don't know. There's this one adaptation that was like kind of good. Well, it was the reverse though. So the creators of Blade Runner, they teamed up with the creators of Cowboy Bebop, and they made an anime link to the Blade Runner 2020 to 2024 or 2049, and then it was like Dark Runner 2023. It's like something around there, and then it was actually pretty good. It's like a 1 or 2 episode, and it's supposed to bridge the storyline between the first movie and the new movie that came out this month.
Oh, okay. So I haven't actually seen that one.
Yeah,
I will definitely look into that.
And it's also because it's created by the guys who made Cowboy Bebop.
And if your name is attached to Cowboy Bebop, then you can't do any wrong. You can only make masterpieces.
All right. Getting a little bit deep into this. How about, so in the spirit of Halloween, and trying to make it like a theme for every one of these anime podcasts, anime recommendations.
Anime recommendations. Okay.
And since it's Halloween, we're gonna try to make it a Halloween based theme. So something horror, monster-esque. Anything you got?
I'm not big on the horror genre in anime. I'm going to go ahead and give this a thought now, though. I personally just think it's hard to do horror in anime.
Yeah, because a lot of the horror animes is just like either really gory,
they're just
just really edgy.
That's really all there is to it.
Yeah.
It's hard to be scared of, moe blobs and stuff like that.
Yeah, like the last popular horror anime was not really like horror. It's because it's more moe. It's like the little girls in the elementary schools and they're killing zombies. That was like the last popular horror anime.
I can think of some that were adaptations of horror seinen manga, like Parasites. That was a really good anime. Arguably, some people won't call it horror because it's really action based, and then at some point, the protagonists, there's very little threat around them. So when you eliminate the feeling of the main character being threatened or in danger, then it isn't really horror anymore. But it's definitely a good sci-fi I'd recommend.
And it's also monster. Like they're technically monster or alien-esque.
Yeah, so you still got that going for it. But if you give me a second, I'll try and think of a good horror.
All right, I'll tell you mine. See, I love very psychotic horror. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just a crazy person, Denzel. See, because my recommendation is another very, very fucked up anime. There's if you just look up like YouTube clips of like really bad or fucked up deaths in anime scenes, you generally find like scenes from that anime. That anime will fuck you up. I'm not gonna lie. Like some of those scenes are so exaggerated too, but I don't know why. It's just so satisfying to watch it. Maybe I'm a crazy person. Am I crazy, Denzel?
You absolutely are.
Oh yeah, I probably am.
I mean, really, we could look at anime and think all anime is horror because we watch it and we know the anime girls aren't real.
Dude, we're talking about my waifu is real, Denzel.
You can keep telling yourself that every night you go to bed. You can be stroking your hugging body pillow. You can take your daki to bed and you can be like, my waifu's real. But the reality of it is she's not real. And that's the real nightmare. That's the real horror right there.
Oh man, that's gonna be our biggest flack, right, of this podcast. We're gonna insult all the waifus and husbandos of the weaves.
Hey man, everyone's husbando, everyone's waifu. They're all great. Everyone's waifu is best.
Nah, they're fake as fuck.
But they'll never be real.
Oh, let's go.
I'm drawing blanks on horror animes. You know what? Okay, I got one. I'm gonna throw out there then.
It doesn't have to be horror. It just in the spirit of Halloween, so it could be anything like.
No. I got one. I'm going to recommend Kakewani.
Okay.
It's less of an anime, more of a motion comic.
Okay.
But Kakewani is very creature feature. Every episode is usually about a different monster, and typically a different setting. It's not until much further into the first season that an actual main character is shown and that an overarching plot is shown. So essentially each episode is kind of standalone. So they're all just about the monsters' interactions with like people in a horror setting. So I'm going to recommend that one. And if you're looking to watch it officially, it's on Crunchyroll.
Hey, they should sponsor us, right?
You should do it. Go get a sponsorship. And
yeah,
then
dude. Come on, Crunchyroll. We're gonna give you a shout out. Oh, even though we're not even that famous.
and then get me some Crunchyroll swag. I'll rock some Crunchyroll swag.
All right then. Today, thank you, Denzel, for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me again. I will gladly come back if you ever want me to.
Yeah, this is not gonna be the last time we're gonna have this conversation. Certainly for not at least this short. So that's all we got for today. Thank you for listening or watching, depending on where you're coming from. So make sure to check me out at SoundCloud, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. The links and descriptions will all be on the respective area that you watch this in.
If you want to find me as well, don't look for me.
Yeah, you can't even find him in UOG.
Leave me alone. Don't talk to me.
Living ghost. All right, thank you. Thank you for listening. Peace.